So, so you can use this calculator. Do this calculator. So we don't know the price. So 2.907. So you put the whole year's yield here and click on price. So it tells you. But if it's a manual, so yield you don't have to use half a year. But for the other part, you have to consider that. All right, so that's about it about bond pricing, because there's a lot, not much we can do, because for bond, if you want to make high returns from the bond market, so you should try junk bond. Those like are possibly has high potential to go bankrupt. You buy these bonds, you might get high returns. But even for high default potential bond, you still don't have much of a return. You see, so I posted over here. You see, most active high yield bond, and yeah, I posted over here. So take a look. This is the on the screen here. So this is the most active high yield bond. You want high return from the bond market? Try these. And this is I just got it from FINRA.org, today's website. Look at the last column. This is the returns you can get from this bond. The highest one is 30%, and that's probably the company is gone already. Weatherford International Limited, 30%, 18%, 30% return. I don't know the company is still existing or not, might not. Anyhow, you see the high yield, it's just because why it's high yield? Because the yield and price move opposite direction. If the bond give you very high yield, means people are dumping, selling their bond, prices will be dropping. Price dropping and yield goes down. So if you see a bond yield is very high, don't be so excited. It's because people are selling the bond, or it's oversupply of the bond. The price goes down, yield goes up. So why the price goes down? It's just because it's based on demand and supply for the bond. So demand is so low, supply is so high, people are selling their bond. So don't be excited. You see 30% of yield for Weatherford International. You say it's good opportunity. No, it's not. The yield for Greek government bond has gone up to how many? To how much? 400%. And for Venezuela government bond has gone up to 100,000% of return. Do you want it? It's worse than this. That's why the return is so high. Because it moves opposite direction. Price is so low. That's why yield is so high. Yeah. Don't be tricked by this high yield. You want what? You want the company to be able to pay your money back. So Walmart is low yield bond, but you get your money back. Okay, yeah. Now we have learned a lot about bond. Let's watch video.
Bonds are a common investment. However,
Safia, can you turn on that? Sorry.
To many investors, they remain a mystery. So let's explore what a bond is and how it might benefit your investment portfolio. A bond is simply a loan given to a company or government by an investor. By issuing a bond, a company or government borrows money from investors, who in return are paid interest on the money they've loaned. Companies and governments issue bonds frequently to fund new projects or ongoing expenses. Some investors use bonds in hopes of preserving the money they have, while also generating additional income. Bonds are often viewed as a less risky alternative to stocks and are sometimes used to diversify a portfolio. Consider this example. The city of Fairview wants to build a new baseball stadium, so it decides to issue bonds to raise money. Each bond is a loan for $1,000, which Fairview promises to pay back in 10 years. To make this loan more attractive to investors, Fairview agrees to pay an annual interest rate of 5%, which in the bond world is also known as a coupon rate. An investor buys the bond at face value for $1,000. Now, let's fast forward. Each year, the city of Fairview pays the investor $50. These regular interest rates continue for the length of the bond, which is 10 years. Once the bond reaches maturity, the investor redeems his bond, and Fairview returns his $1,000 principal investment. This bond was a good deal for both the city and our investor. Fairview got the money it needed to build the stadium. The investor received regular interest payments and the return of the original investment. Because a bond offers regularly scheduled payments and the return of invested principal, bonds are often viewed as a more predictable and stable form of investing. Compare regular payments of a bond to the experience of owning a stock. With stocks, profits and losses are driven by market forces and are generally less predictable. Of course, like any investment, bonds are not without risk. One risk that bond investors face is the possibility that the issuer defaults on paying back the principal. This is what is known as default risk. Typically, bonds with higher default risk also come with higher coupon rates. The amount of risk depends mostly on the financial stability of the issuer. For example, most governments are generally considered stable issuers and issue bonds with a relatively low coupon rate. Corporate bonds typically represent a greater risk of default, as companies can and do go bankrupt. That's why corporate bonds often offer a higher coupon rate. Several credit rating agencies assign rankings to different bonds. This can help bond investors to gauge the financial strength of the bond issuer. These ratings agencies often use different criteria for measuring risk. So, it's a good idea to compare ratings when considering a particular bond. And keep in mind, rating agencies aren't always accurate, so be sure to research a bond and its risks thoroughly before investing. Another risk to consider is interest rate risk. This is the risk that interest rates will go up, and any bonds you own will be worth less if sold before the maturity date. After all, when interest rates rise, more investors allocate their money into the new, higher interest rate bonds. If you wanted to unload a low interest rate bond to take advantage of these new rates, you would have to sell your bond at a discount to make it a worthwhile purchase for another investor. Capital preservation and income generation are just two ways bonds might be part of a diversified portfolio.
All right, so can you turn on lights, Sophie? Thank you. All right, so this is a bond. Okay, so there's the last thing, callable. We haven't mentioned. The callable, some of the bonds are callable and some are not. So if it's callable, the company can call the bond back. And under what circumstance the company will call the bond back? Well, company borrow, and they want to borrow as cheap as possible, right? So they want to pay low coupon rate. They want to pay low interest rate. So when they issued in the old times, the coupon rate is so high. So now interest rate drops to a very relatively low number. So what can firm do? The Walmart can call the high coupon bond back, and then from the bondholders and reissue at the low coupon rate. So usually this callable bond with a yes callable feature, and it happens when they think the interest rate might drop. So they add this yes in their bond contract. So when interest rate do drop, they can call this bond back, get it back from the investors, and reissue at a low interest rate. Like nowadays, if it's a newly issued bond, you don't see this callable feature in it because interest rate is so low. But that 75.5% of the coupon, it doesn't have this callable yes feature in it. Otherwise, it won't be outstanding anymore. It's called back, but it doesn't have it. So if it's a yes, so you can tell it's a protection to the company. So investors want high coupon with no callable features. Will not be called back by the company. So, so this is callable. But investors know, bond investors know it has the callable feature in it or not. So even though you see it's a high coupon and it will be callable, it is callable. So investors will know that it's not like anything hidden or it's added to the contract. So it's part of the contract. So, but since the coupon rate is so high, you're willing to get it and taking the risk, it will be called back. So bond is just everything is clear, even like what this bond is for. For example, because bond is a contract, Walmart can say we need to raise $10 million of bond to set up a new Walmart center near JU. So that's the purpose for the borrowing. So investors will know. You invest to the bond. You invest in the bond market. You lend the money to Walmart, and you know exactly what they will do with your money. So if they don't, then they violate the bond contract. You can sue them. So, but for stock, because you provide the capital to Walmart as the stockholder, so you have no control, because it's based on what is the percentage of shareholding you have of Walmart. It's so tiny, so you have no voice. The more shareholding you have of Walmart, you have more voices in Walmart. Because we're regular investors, there's no power in like our votes. So that's the stock. But for bond, it's all in the contract. You are just small investors. You just have a couple of the bond contract, as compared with like a big institution. Investors for Walmart bond, you have the same contract. So no one has advantage at all. You're equal, but to stock, you are the major shareholders and you are the minor shareholders. Your rights are totally different because the voting rights are different. One share, one vote. So the majority shareholders will have majority control of the firm. But for bond, it's equal because each one is a contract. The contract are equal. So, so anything else? So bond is pretty easy, isn't it? Pretty easy. So it just asks you to calculate the price, and once you know the yield and vice versa. Okay, so we should know this so far. And the last thing, the new one is current yield. So this is a new concept. The current yield, you can find the equation here. So now let's calculate the current yield of this bond. Current yield equals to annual coupon divided by the market price of the bond. So in other words, since we're using coupon divided by price, and it tells us what is the return from coupon. So you can think this current yield as coupon yield. Coupon yield, your yield returns from coupon. So it equals to how much? This is current yield or coupon yield. No Excel function, just the ratio of coupon and price. So if you look at the current yield, you know, okay, this is my return from coupon. Yeah, it could be higher than it's a different concept. It just tells you how much returns you're getting from your coupon every year. Because this is how much you paid for. This is how much you're getting back every year. So this is how much is your annual return from coupon. So it has some meaning because some people are depending on like their coupon income. This is your income to make a living. So you see, okay, from your investment, your income is that much every year. So so I have the Excel formula listed here, so you can take a look. Okay, another one. Okay, so we can pass this part. Current yield. Another one is zero coupon bond. Now we're at number 6. So zero coupon bond, how much is coupon? 0, right? Zero coupon bond, so there's no coupon. You just pay, but how much you're getting back in the end? This is bond. So in the end, everybody got the same amount back, no matter which bond you're holding, Treasury or Walmart or zero coupon bond or the high yield bond. You always get how much back? $1,000 back. So you don't receive any coupon for this bond. How much you think it should be selling for? A lot lower than 1,000, right? Because you pay a lot lower than 1,000, get nothing, no coupon at all, and get $1,000 back in the end. So this is, sometimes you hear your grandma was telling you, I heard sometimes the grandma was anxious about their grandkids' college education. Some will invest money and in this zero coupon bond. For example, it's 18 years. When the kid was born, the grandma will buy a zero coupon bond for a lot less than $1,000. 18 years later, they got $1,000 back. So they can use the money to pay for the college education. So that's zero coupon bond. Or if somebody is planning for retirement, like you don't need the money, so you pay a little bit down now, and 20 years later when you retire, you get $1,000 back. You always get $1,000 back, and you pay a lot less than 1,000. But however, remember, zero coupon bond is treated as semi-annual coupon bond. It has to be treated as semi-annual coupon bond. Now let's try the first exercise, and then the second one. Somebody got it? Let's try this one. Remember, semi-annual coupon bond. 10-year, zero coupon bond, 400. How much is yield to maturity? So, zero coupon bond is 0. 20. Face value is always 1,000. And the semi-annual, and click at yield, 9.38. Is that what you guys got in Excel? Use Excel. yeah, but you have to add decimals. Like this one, so we don't know. So 10 times 2. Payment, 0 coupon bond is always 0. Price is negative 400. 1,000, how much is this rate? Right, so price you don't divide it by 2. But however, this is semi-annual coupon bond. You have to multiply by 2. So you should get 9.38. If you got 0 and you add decimal, make it percentage and add decimals.
Wait, why are you multiplying it by 2 then?
Because this is semi-annual coupon bond. So what you are using, you're getting based on the rate function is semi-annual return. But for the rate, we want to know the annual return. So you're telling people the yield has to be annual return. It's called yield to maturity, annual yield to maturity. But using the rate function, it's semi-annual yield to maturity. But yearly we will talk about like the yield, annual yield. But if you use this calculator, you don't need to be bothered by this. So it's 9.38. I suggest you use this Excel because you don't have to worry like it's semi-annual or whatever. You just, if it's semi-annual, remember you have to multiply by 2. Right? Alright, so if you are done with this, we should try the next one. Now, calculate the price. The price will be annual.
So is this one semi-annual?
If it's a 0 coupon bond, it's always semi-annual. Got it? Yeah, it should be how much you got? How much? Well, it sounds right. So it should be around $400. Let's see, 10%. This we don't know. %, divided by 2. Since it's price, no need to multiply. 376.9. Yeah. So The bond pricing is really easy. Next chapter will be stock pricing. It's quite easy also. Just one equation. It's quite easy. And then I always think the hard part. I know you guys did the cash flow statement. I always feel the hard part, the challenge to you guys will be this cash flow statement. I heard from the Tristan, there is some mistakes. I don't know.
I don't know if there was or wasn't, but like for me, I kept trying. Like,
See, I didn't put the balance, the cash of the following year.
but the following year should, even
No,
when
it's not.
I added it up, the cash from the next year was 0. So
It should be zero.
But even when I did it, the liabilities plus stockholder equity equaled the assets when I added them up. So I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck is going on?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet,
No.
but this is from the test bank, so I assume this should be right. So, but it's okay. I'll be very lenient while grading that part.
I just couldn't get it because it should have been 0 because they spent all the cash because 100.
It should be zero.
So that's what it said on the thing. Because when I added it up,
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I will use this week to grade it because I'm teaching one of the DBA class. So it just it took me forever to prepare and do everything. But that class was over last Saturday, so I can have more time to work for this class. Yeah.
She was the only one that I was like,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because the accounting stuff is always you have to follow the rule, and which is sometimes you have to. Sometimes you don't understand it, but because you're not in the business, so you're not using that all the time. So, but for finance part, like bond pricing, there's only one equation, so you understand it's all numbers. So ratings, we know that Moody's, S&P, and Fitch are the major rating agencies based on Z-score. But anyhow, we can skip this part. Z-score there's an equation like you use how much is like a debt ratio, how much is this ROA, all these, consider all these, and calculate the Z-score. The Z-score tells like how much is the potential for the company to go down, to go under the water. So it's a Z-score. Anyhow, IBM's rating is as high as one. IBM is a good company, right? Because it's no problem. Anyhow, who earns the highest rating? U.S. government. Only U.S. government is totally default free. Why is that? Whatever the debt they owe, right? Because they have to pay back to the debt holders. But U.S. government has no problem to pay back to debt holders. Why? Walmart cannot always say 100%. They can always pay back to the debt holders, but U.S. government can. Why? They can borrow as much as they want. They can still pay them back. Why? And they can print it out as much as they want. They can always. The money probably don't worth so much if there are so many dollars in circulation, but you can always get your money back. It doesn't worth anything maybe one day, but because this government can borrow as much as they can because they can always print out the new ones to pay that off. Yeah. The homework that's all for this you can take a look of. I got it from the website for like the bond information, so it's traded but not so active. Tristan, do you want to help us to work on the homework? So it doesn't have a lot, only 10 questions.
I can try. It's pretty new to me, but
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Christian, you're there.
Huh?
Hey, Christian, you're all there.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
I should have not showed you.
Oh, you've done that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it all yours? No. So, yeah. Change sign means you have an increase in your accounts receivable, then for cash part, it's decrease. You increase your inventory, for example. The company, Walmart, increase the inventory, but it costs them money to do that, so it just doesn't do it. and then you change the sign. You use the difference in inventory, and then you put the negative sign in the front. That's what I mean to do that.
I don't like that. So for number one, for the IBM 5 years, 2% annual coupon bond is selling for $950. How much of this IBM bond yield to maturity
Yeah.
comes out to? And you use the rate equation in Excel, starting with 5, 0.02 times 1,000, negative 950, 1,000.
That's right. Yeah.
This should come out to 3.09%.
That's
Show
right.
us that next